Welcome to the LumiCast, your premier gateway to the universe of limitless photo editing. Dive into the galaxy of Luminar software and the dynamic world of AI photo editing. Join us weekly for a burst of creativity and the drive to transform your photos with confidence and skill. Broadcasting directly from Clever Photographer headquarters, it's time to welcome your hosts, Jakub and Holly Linton.
Hello, everyone. We are back for another episode of LumiCast, the podcast where we talk about photography, photo editing, and Luminar NEO. I'm Holly Linton from Tennessee, and next to me virtually is Jakub, founder of Clever Photographer. Hello, Jakub.
Here I am. Yes. Hello, Holly. It's that time of the year. I'm so ready for this one.
Great. What is our topic for today?
Yes. Following that, we will talk about the future of Luminar NEO. Finally, one episode where we're focusing on our beloved photo editing software. We done this last year and we just talked about it. We didn't do really well when it comes to our predictions and predictions and wish lists on what we would like to see in Luminar NEO this year. So we decided we're going to do it all over again. Hopefully right before the spring update or upgrade is released. So what we're going to do with Holly, we're going to alternate between a wish list and predictions of what we think or hope we're going to get in Luminar NEO this year. Is it clear?
Yes, that's clear. Spring has sprung. Now, we don't know when. Actually, spring hasn't sprung yet as of the recording of this, but it's coming. And the spring update will be coming. We don't know when. We're all in the lurch for that one, but we'll be on our edge of our seat waiting for it to see what it entails. But we have our wish list, and what's funny is we did our wish list last year, 8 months ago, in fact, for the fall update. And I have to say, pretty much none of my wishes came true. So I hope that at least one of them comes true for the spring. We'll have to wait and see.
We have to wait and see.
Let's just jump right into it. My first wish is the same as last year. My top wish, be able to copy masks in the layers panel. And I really don't know if I need to explain it again, but
yes, you do.
I do. Because even though we have our mask refining, like mask selection for objects, sometimes you still need to refine that mask, like the edges of a flower petals or bird's feathers or whatever it is. And you go through all that tedious work to get your mask just right, like mask a texture on it or off of it and different opacities. And then you want to add another texture or overlay to it. And you want it to just be masked on the same areas. It would be great to be able to copy those masks because I don't want to redo the whole thing. And it kind of stops me from being more creative. Like, I don't want to redo this mask again, so I'm just going to use one layer. So that is my biggest wish. Anybody out there is listening from engineering, please, I beg of you.
Well, that's a great wish. And I think the longer you keep putting it on the list, the higher the chances that it's going to happen, Holly. So well done. So is this prediction or is this your wish? It's probably more like a wish, right?
It is a wish because... yeah, I mean, it hasn't come true yet.
All right. So I will also alternate between wishes and predictions. And I'm going to start with prediction of what I think could happen this year. And that's the arrival of a reflection generator. Now, if you use the sky replacement tool in Luminar NEO before, you may know that it can do a little bit of reflection. So it basically kind of reflects the sky in the water. Some other tools can do a little bit of that, but there is not like a clean tool where you can just press the button and it will create a reflection on a cobblestone or water or river or lake or sea or something like that. So I think that would be super cool tool to see. And in fact, in past, I know that there was a talk about it in Skylum. I never seen any result or anything, but talk is always first step towards the greatness. So reflection generator is my prediction for 2026.
Interesting.
Would you like that? I would love that.
I think so. And now that along those lines, what about even a shadow creator?
Yes.
When you do composites to be able to put shadows under like people's feet and wherever they belong.
That would be awesome.
Interesting. So I kind of added that one in. All right. My next wish, I'll just say all mine are wishes. I don't know. I don't have any predictions. Would be adding more options in the export function, because I see Android users I don't know what they can export to, but they can't airdrop and do things like that. So if you could export to Facebook, export to WhatsApp or other social media right from Luminar, I think that would be good, because I've also heard people complain about like the mobile app. If they're on an Android, they're complaining they can't share their pictures easily. I don't know much about that, but so I just think being able to export from Luminar NEO to a whole bunch of different places besides airdropping and emailing would be a good idea. What do you think?
Cool. Yeah, definitely. No, that would be great. And again, towards better usability, I think so. Good on that. All right. My next one is more as a wish list, but followed by hundreds of people emailing me. And that's the asset management in Luminar NEO, which I think is still very poor. When it comes to everything that you can plug in, talking about your skies, your LUTs, your overlays, your textures, your presets. I think the presets improved a lot, but still for even how many presets Skylum sell, how many packs, it just seems still very minimal, the control you can have over how to order them, how to preview them, and so on. But I'm more talking about like your overlays, LUTs, like we are living in a time when people get LUTs from all over the place. They can be from us, but they can be from many other places. Same with the overlays and textures. And the fact that you still, now this is 4 years later, you have to store your overlays in one folder where you can only see like 6 images preview at the time it's just not good enough. I think, there has to be a better way to do this. I know that when you buy assets directly from Skylum, they go into their folders. I don't understand why they just can't give that power to users to be able to create a folder, upload your images into it, or your overlays and textures, create another folder, and just have your own library, just like you do in Photoshop or in Lightroom. I think this would just makes it so much easier, So you give the possibility to use these tools, but you don't really give a functionality on being able to be organized and be, efficient and so on. So I think the asset management has to improve, and it should as soon as possible.
So being able to kind of categorize your LUTs, like maybe have LUTs that would look good with black and white pictures, LUTs that would look good with spring photos, like so you can kind of name things and condense it, because when I hit the custom LUT, I have like 80 things there, and I scroll through. I literally do hover over and see what everyone looks like. So it would be kind of nice to be able to narrow it down somehow. Is that what you're kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, that the efficiency would be so much better. And for example, with the LUTs, you can put them in categories, but you have to do that by discovering like a secret link and secret location on your computer, and then create new folders there. And I mean, who has the time to do that? It would be so much easier just to create new folder or new album, upload your LUTs there. So let's say like you have your LUTs for portraits. This is where they are. You have your creative LUTs, or you have a LUTs for sunsets, and just be able to just very quickly access them. That would make life much easier for many people out there.
Hey, agreed. Okay. I still have this on my list. I'd love to be able to drag images from the film strip directly to my layers panel so that I could almost have a little project ready and set. Like, okay, here's 10 pictures I'm using for a composite. They're all in the film strip. And then when I'm ready to add my layer and click add layer, I can just drag one right to that panel instead of searching my hard drive for that picture. And also being able to add more than one image at a time into the layers panel. I know that was on your list last year. Just instead of one by one, could you just add a whole folder of images to the layers panel?
Yeah, a good one. Definitely. Yeah, that's also a really good point. And for me as an educator and someone who kind of create projects for people to do, that would make life much more easier, right? Because right now you give people the sample files, but then you have to explain how to get them into the layers panel. If you could just drag and drop them, it would be so cool. So good point. Okay, well, from wish to prediction, last one was a reflection generator. So my next one is a weather generator. How about that? You could click a button and it would add rain or snow or rainbow, and that would be really cool. So we already have a mist, right, with that atmosphere tool. So this would be like a atmosphere 2.0 where you could add all of this. I think that would be super handy and super cool.
Well, interesting, because my next one was add more tools in the creative panel.
Okay.
And I was trying to think, what would that be? And what you just described would fit perfectly there. Also, maybe the ability to make something painterly, have those kind of features, because there are other apps people will go to not necessarily like, create a cartoon or sketch, but or grunge-tastic kind of looks. I'm thinking those kind of features would be nice in the creative section. Just ones that make sense that people might like to use. I know there's some of them are maybe far out there, like turning it into a puzzle and stuff like that might not be proper, but there's got to be some more creative tools that could be added.
No, I agree, right? 100%. Yeah, and probably the answer we will get from Skylum is that it's a photo editor, so they're focusing just on the photos. But I think you're right. Recently, I was working on a project where a lady was taking portraits of people and then turning them a little bit of that kind of painted effect, like it would look like a painting, so extra texture and the colors are a little bit more pastel-like and more creamy. And honestly, it looked brilliant. So if you would be able to do that, I think people would really enjoy it.
And I think people who aren't comfortable with using layers and adding their own textures, that would be a good tool for them to kind of get the feel for it.
Yeah,
be able to do it with a click.
All right. Well, since you're talking about section, then I can nicely follow up on that with my wish list, and that's to be able to customize the workspace more. Bless him, I was watching Jim Nix yesterday, his video about the latest update, which I think was very much performance update, if anything else. But you are able there to sort the favorite section. You can drag the tools around. And I thought this is where we ended this incredible app. We're celebrating the fact that we can drag the tools above one and each other, And I mean, bless him, it's a big thing, but you would think that by now we would have so much more functionality when it comes to customizing the space, to be able to reorder the tools in the actual sections, So talking about creative tools, maybe you should be able to, let's say in creative section, I always use 3 tools, mystical and mood. And why would I not be able to have them just on the top of the creative section? Or some of the other tools maybe have a key shortcut for it, so you can just press the key and it will open the mystical tool immediately. Or have 5 like a hotkey. So let's say that you have 1 to 5 on your keyboard and you can customize them just like on a camera, so they can do anything you would like them to do. And so on. There's so many ways this could be just more smoother and more customer open, I think. So to be able to customize the workspace more would be great, and I would love to see it.
I watched that Jim Nix video also, and it was cute to see how he was so genuinely excited about it.
Yes, that was very sweet.
But that shows his enthusiasm for Luminar NEO. Okay, I agree with that one. All right, I think you'll agree with this one. Keep improving the performance, my wish, because for me, I still have problems with Luminar NEO. It's the curse. It's been a 6-year curse for me. It just doesn't, I still have so many problems, but I will say that Skylum is finally working with me on it. So it still doesn't work well for everyone. People still have a lot of problems. So something needs to be done so that there's fewer complaints and that they have fewer people messaging support and bombarding them with email that they can't keep up with. So my biggest wish is always going to be keep improving the performance of it.
No, definitely. And I think you're right. We could get really detailed on what we want from it, any sorts of optimization, but in overall, just better stability and faster performance of it would be a good thing for sure. And something that probably is one of the highest requested feature from current users. Well, on that note, I can also follow up with faster exports. I guess that's pretty much the same thing. The thing is, sometimes I talk to the people and they say, well, I have no problem exporting. Well, you have no problem exporting 2 or 3 images, or 1. But if you start to use it commercially or on a higher scale and you need to export 40, 50, 100 photos, for example, models or interior design or bigger photo shoot. Honestly, it takes forever. And I wouldn't say often, but from time to time, it also freezes or collapses in the middle of the export. So let's say that you export 20 images and then the application, freezes. So then you have to start all over again, or you're not sure where you started from. So the exporting, while I think they did some work on it, I really like the new features where you're able to just very quickly click into that top right corner, click on the, export 100% JPEG. I think this is all really handy. I think there is still way to go when it comes to the performance of the exporting.
Okay, sounds good. My next one really is not important, but I mentioned it last year. the zoom to crop feature. I zoom in.
Yes.
I zoom in and I'm like, wow, I wish I could just crop it just like this with a click of a button. So that one's real quick and easy. I'm sure it'll never come true.
But if it's important for you, maybe there are other people out there that it's important for them as well. Okay, so my next is more prediction. And if I already talk about the reflection and weather, I will end this mini short list of generators with motion effect tool. And basically it will be something that will be able to create long exposure effect for you. So flatten the water, flatten the lake, maybe soften the sky and create that long effect. I think that would be really cool as well. And I know 100% there is lots of photographers, landscape photographers out there who would love this feature. But at the same time, speaking to the engineers from Skylum, they also really struggle to apply this because it's really technically difficult when it comes to stones and when it comes to things in the water to be able to work around it. So I would love to see it. Are we going to? I'm not 100% sure.
All right. So people better just learn how to do it in camera for now.
Absolutely.
All right. My next one is, and you'll have to tell me if I'm wrong on this one, the light depth tool. Everybody's enjoying that. And we can move it side to side and we can move it up and down, like wider, make it wider or smaller. We can't move it side to side. So my wish was if we could move it side to side, would that be of some benefit? I'm thinking it would. And usually when I'm using that tool, I'm dragging my mouse to the left and the right, like hoping I can move it all around. So that's why it's on my list. But I don't know if it really would, if it's a good idea or not, but I think it is.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think for me, already would be enough if you would be able just to kind of rotate it almost like a door. So, because ultimately it's like a line of light, right? It's basically a horizontal line of light. So imagine that you would just be able to, imagine that you have something in the middle, which is holding it, and you're just able to kind of rotate it around. That would be really cool because not every landscape is the same, right? Sometimes the light falls in a different direction. So while I'm not sure from side to side if it would make difference, but if you would be able to rotate that light, I think that would be really cool. So any further adjustments of the 3D mask, it would be really cool.
Okay. What's your next one?
Cool. Next one, which is probably more requested by professional photographers, I guess. I don't know, but maybe, like your everyday photographers use it too. And that's the ability to add keywords to the images. Especially before exporting, again, when you're working commercially or for customers, it's really cool to be able to apply keywords and then have your name or maybe your email or maybe other things attached to your photo when you export it. So then when the image circulates around the world, it does have a little bit of you in it.
Would people who use Lightroom, they have keywords there, right?
They do, yes, indeed. Yeah.
But if you pull it into Luminar as a plugin?
No.
You don't see it in Luminar.
So I think the keywords now get to stay. They don't get deleted, but you can't change them in any way.
Oh, okay.
So that's the problem. And you should be able to just add your keywords. So in Lightroom, I have things like my name, my website, and then maybe my camera and stuff like that. So yeah, just when somebody use it or see it, they can see where it came from. So I really like that.
All right. Well, I think we're about halfway through our list. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
If you're listening to the LumiCast podcast, then we share something in common. We love editing photos, and we love Luminar. It's almost breathtaking what this amazing tech can do for you. On our website, you'll find countless different things to help you be more creative than you ever thought imaginable. From our photo manipulation masterclass to our power bundle with 986 elements, our essential preset bundle, editing software and extensions to our tutorials. Harness the power at the website at www.cleverphotographer.com/Luminar. Again, that's cleverphotographer.com/Luminar. Now, back to LumiCast.
And we are back. And just very quickly looking behind the scene, we noticed that Holly still has 6 points on her list, and I have 3. So the way we're going to do it, she will go ahead with 2 of hers and then 1 of mine. So I think it's for you to start, Holly.
Okay. I think it would be great if Skylum could keep improving the artificial intelligence, specifically in the generative tools and especially the restoration tool, because the eyes and the mouths need a little work. Now, I don't know a lot about the, real technology does Skylum have control over these improvements, or is like the artificial intelligence that's out there in the world, does that dictate how good artificial intelligence can work? Or is it something Skylum can like improve?
A good point and a good question. And there is not really straightforward answer to it. From what I know, Skylum is using basically outside archive. So outside AI system, which does that. They are not big enough to be able to build like massive center somewhere like Adobe or other applications. So they outsourcing this part, which just very quickly, nobody needs to be worried that your images are going somewhere. This is all very protected and safe. And again, remember that it's only a very small part of the image that goes away. But yes, so they have some sort of influence on the result, but not necessarily massive one. So they can't really fix it from their side. Somebody else has to fix it. But I think in general, this is still the case. Yesterday, I was working on a project and I still noticed that the eyes are not great on these AI images. Some technology is amazing, but it's also really expensive still. When you really want like a proper image, when you get the skin details and beautiful eyes and, dense and very realistic look, it can be done, absolutely. But A, it takes quite a long time to generate, so people would probably not put up with it on simple toolless restoration tool. And B, it's really expensive. And again, I don't think people are necessarily ready to pay that much extra to have it. So yeah, it's a still development that needs to be done. I agree with you. It needs to improve because sometimes the eyes are terrible, but I'm sure that we will see improvements on it.
Yeah. They're fun to try, if anything. And
Absolutely.
I use Gen Swap mostly just to get a laugh and see what kind of, funny results I get.
Good point.
Okay. This would be my last one regarding tools. I wish they would put the Aperty tools into the portrait tools in Luminar NEO. I'm under the impression that I don't hear a lot about Aperty or if it's been, that's been updated or anything. I think the answer is no, it hasn't. So I kind of thought that they should just put Aperty into Luminar portrait tools if Aperty is not doing well, or, I don't know if it is or isn't. What do you think about that?
That's a good point. I don't think that they will agree with you on that, but it's a good point. Yeah, probably business-wise, financially, that's not a great move to make. Second thing, I think performance-wise, it's not really as simple as that. I actually noticed that some very slight details moved over, like some of the features which are already in Luminar NEO works more closely to Aperty, things like the studio light or others, but not heavily and definitely not announced. I think one big difference we have to realize between Luminar NEO and Aperty is that the Aperty only has this, let's say it's like 10 features for portrait. That's all it does. So that performance of the computer can focus only on that. While in Luminar NEO, you will do everything from your develop, enhance AI, structure AI, sky replacement, blah, 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 all the way to this. And that is so much performance of the computer needed that maybe it's just not possible. I don't want to find an excuse, but it may be difficult to bring it in all.
Okay. And no offense to Aperty, I should say.
But I see some movement on the social media of Aperty, so maybe there will be comeback. Who knows? Huh? We'll see.
Is that a prediction?
Okay. Oh, it could be. Oh my God, I should have totally added to my prediction. All right.
You're next.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So in my opinion, the next thing we're going to see is a style matching. While we have this color matching tool in Luminar NEO now, which can match the colors and a little bit of the luminosity of the image, I think that eventually there will be a tool which will be able to scan the photo you're trying to give it, like beautiful sunset, and it will then apply similar edit using the actual tools. Almost a little bit like the AI assistant, which we don't talk about. But in a way, it's a similar idea. I think rather than just using almost like a LUT way with the color match, I think eventually there will be something like a style matching tool, which will be able to get really close to what the original photo was.
So like color transfer, but style transfer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So color being part of it, but be able to do much more, your details, sharpness, clarity, and so on.
Got ya. All right. I have 4 left, and they're all really kind of more like a marketing type of thing.
Go for it.
I would love if Skylum could make a chart that clearly spells out the ecosystem and like who owns what. If you own the mobile before the ecosystem came out, do you automatically have the ecosystem? and continue explaining the pricing and the upgrade, because I still see a lot of stuff out there on social media. Even yesterday, someone's like, I'm leaving. I can't believe I have to pay for the ecosystem. So I messaged them and said, I think you already have the ecosystem. You have to link. There's a lot of confusion that I had last week. I couldn't get Luminar Mobile to work on my desktop and have it communicate. Well, I was logged in with the wrong email or something like that. So I figured it all out. So you have to link your accounts if you might have signed up for Luminar Mobile with the app and never downloaded it from your desktop. There might be a communication barrier. And so people think that they have to pay another fee. So there's that kind of confusion needs to be clearly spelled out for people, you know. And then it also says, like, if you do an upgrade pass, it's only good till December. Well, what if you buy it now in March? Is it still expire in December? So there's just a lot of questions like that still are out there that it'd be nice if it was clearly explained so that we don't have to be confused.
No, I agree. That's a good point.
Say that with all kindness, of course, to the marketing team.
Very good. Well, that's a definitely valid point. And I think you're right. This is kind of ongoing trouble of trying to be as customizable as possible, but sometimes in a way of making it more complicated than it needs to be. Cool. And what's your second on this one?
I wish they would announce new updates or launch them when the product is completely ready. So that still kind of goes along with performance I feel like over the last 4 years now of Luminar NEO, since there are still performance problems, that just wait until it's ready and then announce it like a week before it's coming out. Don't announce it 3 months in advance. Like, okay, here's some things that might come in the spring update, and then have everyone be mad because stuff's not working correctly. You're
Good
smiling
point.
over there.
I almost feel like that's a kind of story of the company. Now, we should say that we love Luminar NEO.
Yes, I love Luminar.
Yeah, but I mean, example is the autumn upgrade, which we start to advertise in August. September, you get a rough idea on what's going to be in it. Then you get some stuff at the end of October, beginning of November, and you don't get everything you've been promised for the autumn upgrade pretty much until Christmas Day. So I find that not great. I feel, I always stand up for Skylum and Luminar because I know it's not easy where they are and whatever. But I think this definitely doesn't help them in running. And then when you get frustrated people, you kind of understand them. Like, you paid for something in August and in December you still don't have it. I mean, they have a valid point on, we were promised something and it wasn't delivered. So I agree with you. This, I think, is an ongoing thing. I think it's better to announce and promise only when you're sure that you can deliver. And then when you deliver, to deliver it in a form when it's ready. So, yeah, good point. We don't need to say more on that, I think.
No.
Well, on that, talking about prediction or wish list, talking about the version history of the edit. Well, so I don't know how much our listeners and you work with Lightroom or Photoshop, but basically there is a specific panel where you can go exactly step by step on what you've done. Move this slider here and move this slider there and click on this button. And you can pretty much click on that. So it's everything you do is always a new line on that list. And you can click on that line and that will return everything back to that point. So let's say that you have used Develop Tool and Enhance AI and Structure. And in Develop, you have done your curves. And in Enhance AI, you have increased the sky enhancer. And in Structure AI, you have applied the structure. Let's say that you click on a button where you have added contrast in Develop Tool. It will remove all the edits up to that slider in contrast, and you can continue from there and see it from there. I think that would be really cool. What we see now is the edit panel, in an editing module, and that's cool. But sometimes you use Develop Tool 3, 4, 5 times during the edit. You don't know which one is for what you have done in it. I think it would be much better to have a clear history of what you have done, so then you can adjust it if you want to, going back. So that would be cool.
I'd also still remember back in Luminar AI or Luminar 4, they had a button that you could turn off the tool. You could turn it off and turn it on. I'd like that to come back, to be able to just eliminate a couple tools, but have the option to turn it back on. Almost like the before and after are doing a virtual copy. You want to keep, you might want to keep all the edits you did, but just see, what would it look like if I didn't do a sky replacement? But you could turn it back. But you could turn it back on if you wanted to. Now
I understand why you can't do that in the full edit view, because you can use the same tool over and over, so you can't switch it on and off there. But you should be able to do it in the edit panel, right? So,
Yeah, because otherwise it's there. You can't, you'd have to undo it and remove it. You can't just shut it off.
Yeah, so that's a shame. Yeah, I agree. Cool.
Was that your last one?
I have one more actually after.
Oh, okay, because I have two.
Okay,
so I'll just do one more. Then I think they should give the affiliates and ambassadors more time to beta test so that they can take the feedback and improve the product and then launch it. So that Jakub is just nodding his head and laughing over there. I know this sounds negative, and I'm going to share my love of Luminar at the end, so this all sounds positive. This is just my wish list. I think I'm good at recognizing how things can be made better. So this is tough love, as they call it.
Very good. I absolutely agree. Yes. I think more people get involved in the development and more they can help. I think things will just get better. And obviously, what better people than the partners and ambassadors and the people who use it all the time? Because as an engineer, you cannot test things, but you have only certain amount of time where we use it all the time. Every day you open it and you try it on different photos. So if there would be I would even just be happy for some kind of system of reporting where you see something, you can just, screenshot, click, describe, send. I know there is all sorts of things around the application where you can kind of click on thumb up, thumb down and all of that. But I feel like if there would be something that would be able to collect this feedback quickly, that would be cool. So good point there. Well, on that note, it's time for my final. This is more a wish list for me, and that's for the presets. And it's kind of thing I've been talking about for quite some time, and that's the presets. To be able to choose if you want to apply the preset on the top of all your edits, or if you want the preset to remove everything you have done and then apply the preset. So basically now if you apply preset at any point of the editing, it will delete all the edits you have done up till now. Where in the older versions of Luminar NEO, you could do two things. You could apply multiple presets on, not Luminar NEO, Luminar, let's just say. In Luminar, you could apply multiple presets on top of each other. So you could almost blend different creative visions together. And not only that, you were also able to apply the preset and then only brush that effect to the specific parts of your photo, which was even cooler. So if you have like a preset which is built just for warm, dramatic skies, you would apply it and then you would brush it just into the sky. And I thought that was great. So a little bit more control on how the presets are applied would be very, very helpful.
It's a good one. Okay. My last negative comment. Wouldn't it be cool? And I feel like this happened years ago, that there would be like a community Zoom with the engineers and Yvonne. All right, Jakub's making faces, where like if it was well organized, they could take kind of questions ahead of time that they have answers to, or allow people to put their 2 cents in, which could help improve the product. Now, recently, they did reach out and did a survey that I got to be a part of, and I did actually talk for 45 minutes with one of the engineers and actually kind of rattled off all the things on this list. And I did provide them with like a 4-page document of things that I think could be improved. Mm-hmm. And one of those was sort of what you just said. Wouldn't it be neat? Maybe on the website, they could put like space that says, what are your problems with Neo? Where somebody could just click it, type like maybe, 100 characters, like keeps crashing. And they could compile a list. It's not something for them to reply to, but just to compile the data to see how many people are having that specific problem. Like maybe it'll say what your operating system is and then be like, layers not working. And some kind of program would show them, oh, wow, we have this many customers that still can't use layers the right way. Just, I don't know. I thought almost like a complaint or a suggestion box type of thing, or a complaint box or issue box where they could collect all that data instead of people messaging, support with it. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, absolutely. Yeah, you're right at that. And I think in a way that talks about the system we just talked about both. First, you talk about the possibility to collect the feedback. And then now you'd be talking about the possibility of maybe meet regularly, maybe quarterly year or maybe twice a year, just to be able to share this feedback. Yeah, I think that would be great. And I think that would be great base for the company and for the product. Now, of course, when you compare it with like a massive companies like Adobe and stuff, you don't see this level of influence of the users. But I think Skylum always built on the fact that they have partners and influencers and users, which are kind of heavy users, and altogether that can be really cool. So Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that would be great to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, having said all that, I will reiterate, I love Luminar. I am very thankful for all of the tools that are already there. So it might sound like I'm being mean with my wish list, but if those things ever get added, I think that would just be a plus. But right now, besides the fact that my layers isn't working correctly, it's still a great software program. I love it. I will use Luminar for life. So I just hope it just keeps getting better and better.
Absolutely.
And I do appreciate the engineers and the marketing team and everybody else. So don't get me wrong.
Good. And I think there's nothing. The reason why we're sharing this is because we care and we want to see it succeed and being just being successful in the future. So that's the whole goal. If we wouldn't care, we wouldn't do this. So
right.
We, of course, wish the best of luck in the next year of Luminar NEO. We are super excited to see what it's going to bring. We wish best of luck to the entire team, which we know still lots of them living in Ukraine, and that's not easy. So we are very much with you. We care, and we can't wait to see what the software will bring. Holly, thank you so much for all your amazing points.
You're quite welcome.
And thank you to you guys. And don't forget to write us in the comments what you would like to see or what would you like to be fixed. We would love to see it all. Have a great week, and we will speak to you again next week on Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
And that's a wrap. Now, there's only 3 things left to do. Subscribe to this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Visit our website at cleverphotographer.com/LumiCast to see what we have in store next. And stay creative and keep editing your photos no matter what anyone says.